Hello, I thought I'd share some of my guitars with people, not literally, obviously. Had a few people asking me at gigs I've done over the past 12 months or so, different questions about the guitars I've got, what guitars I've got, where I use them, etc. So I thought I'd take a look at a few. This one is my main guitar that I use for Forevermore. This is my 2009 Custom Shop Relict Stratocaster in what I guess in the old days would have been called a Fiesta Red. This is a lovely guitar. It's a very light relic, not anything too serious. So a lot of these guitars look like they've been dragged around a car park or smashed up on stage, but this one genuinely looks like a well played in guitar of its era. I'm not quite sure if the camera will pick up the checking on the finish on there. But as I say, the relic is quite light. You can just see where the corners have been taken off the top bout there, the bottom bout, and just at the back. And on the back of the headstock there, there's the Custom Shop decal as well. This is a lovely guitar. It sounds great. It's been set up quite well. Like most of my guitars for the heavy rock stuff, it's set up in E flat rather than standard concert tuning. And this guitar was bought primarily because of my love of Gary. When I first saw Gary play on the television, when I was about 12, 13 years old, after hearing him play, you know, on the Black Rose album with Thin Lizzy, I'm wondering who this guy was. A program called Rock School on British television. Gary played his famous 61, 62 red Strat. Blew me away. And from that moment I knew I had to have one. So probably 30 odd years later, possibly about 4 or 5 years back now, this one came up for sale, and we bought this second hand for a very reasonable price. Story behind this one was that we were originally going to buy one of the John Cruise Gary Moore replicas that was produced in limited numbers, 50 or 60 of those John produced. Put some details into my local dealer about buying one of those. It was looking like it was going to be a done deal. Then the dealer said they couldn't get me one, and by the way, did I realise they were going to be £8 rather than the 3 or 4 that I thought they were going to be. So it didn't happen, ironically, which is a shame. I wish it had now, because the guitars that John's made are beautiful, and they're, you know, in terms of an investment, they're selling for sort of £14 or so these days. But it wasn't to be. Luckily, as I say, this one came along, and I've been using this with a previous classic rock band when I was just playing a little bit of rhythm guitar, and now I'm playing quite a lot more guitar with Forevermore. It's really come into its own. It's absolutely beautiful. It would be very nice from a selfish point of view if it had a darker rosewood neck to kind of match Gary's, but there you go, you can't have it all. Where would you put it? So yeah, it's lovely, and this will be seen a lot more on the road with Forevermore going forward. This guitar is a 1997 Fender California Telecaster, in a lovely salmon pink kind of colour there, which is particularly attractive. The story with these guitars is that they were traditional American, USA, Californian guitars, but when they were produced in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, there was a fire at the paint factory, so they were actually shipped across to the Mexico site to be painted in these lovely colours. So they became known as the California Special Guitars. The serial numbers on the back are slightly different to regular USA model Strat. They have an AMX and prefix on them in this case. What's not to like about a Telecaster? You know, they're just a no-nonsense guitar, aren't they? You've got your tone and your volume. They're just a good shit kicker guitar, which is what I like about them. You know that if you met this guitar out somewhere, it ain't taking no shit. People like Rick Parfitt have used these guitars, which is good enough for me. And also Gary Moore along the way as well, which is obviously I'm slightly biased on that front. It's a lovely thing. The special thing about this particular batch of guitars is that they also have the hotter pickup in there as well, Texas Special pickup, which is what you find these days on the American Special Strats. There's one coming up on the wall there behind me. This is in place of the regular lipstick type pickup that these guitars had. Again, at the moment this isn't seeing an awful lot of action, but I have used it in some rehearsals recently, so it could be making a comeback soon. guitar is a little bit different. This is a Peavey Rockingham guitar. These are a guitar which was made, I believe, back in the early part of the 2000s. Rockabilly guitarist Daryl Hyam had a hand in their design, and they came about because Daryl wanted something which had a much bigger body. The dimensions of the body on these things are pretty much the same as a Gretsch White Falcon. And this is a Korean version, which I believe is one of the earlier models. There's not an awful lot really known about these guitars. Even Daryl himself doesn't know too much about them, because I've spoken to him about the design of them. This one, being Korean model, has a slightly deeper body than the later Chinese models. I think this is 65mm, I think the Chinese models are 58mm, something like that. I'm sure the people that are much more technical about guitars can tell you more than I can. But it's actually a really nice thing. Out of all the guitars that I own, and I do own, I'm fortunate enough to own some quite nice expensive guitars, this is, I think, the most comfortable guitar that I've got to play. It's just, it's really well played in over the years by whoever's owned it before me. It's obviously done the rounds a bit, it's got a few battle scars on it here and there. But it's lovely. It's only got the kind of very low budget, cheap pickups in these guitars. But that's not a detriment at all. It gives a really nice warm sound for rock and roll. If you kind of think the sort of sound that you'd hear in, you know, in one of Bill Haley's songs, that's the kind of sound you get out of this guitar. It's really nice. Again, it's got a retro-fitted Bigsby arm on there. I think when this was new, it would have been a fixed bridge on there, but I'm not quite sure. I don't think that's original, because it's certainly not the right certainly not the right Bigsby for this particular guitar. Took this guitar to see Daryl at one of his gigs a couple of years back, and he was very complimentary about it. He was very kind, and he actually signed the guitar for me, which you can possibly see in there. And he played the guitar, and he was very nice and very complimentary about it, and I kind of hoped that some of the magic out of Daryl's rock and roll fingers would have stayed in the guitar, but as anybody who's seen me play at one of my rock and roll gigs will tell you, it wasn't the case. I own two more Rockinghams because I really like them so much. I own a purple Chinese model and a blonde Chinese model as well. But this is, out of the Rockinghams I own, this is the daddy. This is the one which gets taken to gigs primarily as a backup, although it does get used as well. I can heartily recommend these guitars. If you can find one, they're not expensive. Pick one up. You'll get one for, you know, the sort of £250, £300 mark. Take it home, get it set up properly, love it, possibly change the pickups on it if that's your kind of thing, and they're only ever going to go up in value because, you know, they're quite a rare guitar now. They're very nice. Okay, this is my 2016 Gretsch 6120 Brian Setzer Hot Rod. This is the guitar which probably gets the most questions and the most appreciating looks when it's out being gigged. This is the guitar which I use with all my rock and roll gigs with Reverend Black's Rock and Roll Revival. People love it, possibly not because of the way I play it, but it's certainly because of the way it looks. It's such a beautiful thing. I'm not quite sure if the camera again will pick up the finish on there, but it's got a really deep green sparkle finish to it. Like a kind of antifreeze green colour, which is just so fantastic to see, and it's a really comfortable guitar to play. It's got the great Bigsby on there as well, which makes a real difference to everything. You know, for me, Bigsby's by far and away outstrip the typical traditional trems that you might get on a Stratocaster or that type of guitar. Brian Setzer was one of the great guitarists that I still wanted to see. I've been lucky enough to see many great guitarists over the years that I've been playing in bands and going to see gigs. But Brian and the Stray Cats has always eluded me for some reason. So back in, I think it was about 1979, 1980, a much younger me went out and spent his pocket money on this particular record, which is a 45 of the Stray Cats doing Runaway Boys, and the B-side of that is My One Desire, which is a Ricky Nelson song. And that just changed pretty much everything for me. I loved kind of early punk, I loved heavy metal, but this opened up a whole other avenue for music for me. So found out that Brian played Gretsch guitars, and I was determined to get one. I had a couple of cheaper ones over the years, electromatics and kind of Chinese projects and stuff. But this one is this is the daddy, along with the red strap. This is number one. This will go in the box with me, I'm afraid. So this is going nowhere. And it's an absolutely beautiful thing.